Okay, here we go with the notes for this lesson. This is the last lesson, and then after that I'll give you a test review, and then the big test. Okay, start off with number one here. You're not going to really see anything new. You're going to see an application of just about several concepts that we've already reviewed in the previous worksheets. Okay, so here we go. Number one, let me focus into here. All right. So again, you're working with exponents. Here you got already exponents. And then the new thing here is we're going to have some negative exponents, and we've seen that as well. Okay, so again, you have a power rule here. When you got an exponent raised to another exponent, that's the power rule. Okay, which means you multiply those, right? That's 8 over 1, which is 8, times negative 3 over 4. You look to reduce the 8 over 1 and the negative 3 over 4. Well, you know the 8 and the 4 can reduce, right? These can simplify. 4 goes into 4 once, 4 goes into 8 twice. You're left with k to the 2 over 1, which is 2 times what? Negative 3. You get k to the power of negative 6. Remember negative exponents, we cannot leave negative exponents. We have to put a 1 under this. We're going to bring it down. If it's in the numerator, you have a negative exponent in the numerator, bring it down to make it positive. If it's in the denominator, you bring it up. Final answer, 1 over k to the power of 6 for number 1. Okay, number 2, very, very similar. I got p to the power of 6 over 1 times the negative 3 over 2. We look here for things to cancel or divide out or simplify. 6 divided by 2 can reduce, so 2 goes into 2 once, 2 goes into 6 3 times. You're left with p, and you got 3 over 1 times negative 3 over 1, 3 times negative 3. You're going to get p to the power of negative 9. Again, your final answer cannot have negative exponents. So, we learn how to fix that. We know that there's a 1 down here. We're going to move it down to the bottom. The answer is 1 over p to the power of 9. Okay, so we reviewed this with the variables. Now you're going to, again, just quickly review with when you have a number as a base, and then you'll see the last two problems again with numbers and variables to with the rational exponents. Okay, let's go to 3. Just the number to be a base. Well, remember here on the side, you're going to figure out, remember this is 64 to the power of 1/2, a little side work over here. You're going to find out what the square root of 64 is, because the denominator is 2, right? If you remember that. Remember we split this up, but we really want to keep it together. But the fraction here is 1/2 to the power of negative 3. But doing this part is your calculator work, which you know that this in the calculator is what? Well, for this rational exponent, that means you take the square root of 64. The square root of 64 is 8. But really what you take from this is that 64, or you could say that 8 squared is 64. This is the information you take from it. Okay? This is the information that you take from it. Because we don't want to, we want to use rational exponents. Again, I don't want to just have your calculators do this work for you. So what do? This 64 changes to 8 squared. See, you want to work with exponents. 8 squared. This 64 turns into 8 squared. And we want to leave this negative 3 over 2. Negative 3 over 2. And then now you just work with the exponents and power rule. So that's going to be 8 to the power of 2 over 1 times negative 3 over 2. Well, here they divide out nicely. The 2 and the 2 divide out. They cancel each other out. You're left with 8 to the power of negative 3. And you do not do negative exponents. You have to put a 1 under it. We're going to take this, drop it down. You know that this is really 1 over, and then it's 8 cubed positive in the denominator. And then you find 8 cubed with your calculator. Final answer is 1 over 512. 8 times 8 times 8, right? You do that on the calculator. 512. Okay. So looking at this here, I want to do the side work over here. I'm using my calculator here to do this. I'm looking at that's a 3, so that's a cubed root. So really my side work here on the calculator is the cubed root of 64. When you do that on the calculator, and you do this correctly on the calculator, a lot of people see 64 and they think 8. It's true, 8 squared is 64, but this is a cubed root. The cubed root of 64, your calculator will tell you the answer is 4. But again, what do you take from this? I don't want to use radicals. From this, you take what information? You take that. If the answer is 4, that means that 4 cubed. 4 times 4 times 4 is 64. That's what you understand from doing this. Hold on. Sorry for that. That's when you replace this 64 right there. This 64 is now going to become, this 64 is what? 4 cubed. So you want to work with bases and exponents. 4 to the power of 3. And then you still got this negative 4 over 3. So that's 4 to the power of 3 over 1 times negative 4 over 3. So this is going to divide out nicely right there. Those divide out. What are you left with? 4 to the power of negative 4. And we don't want to have negative exponents, so that's 4 to the power of negative 4. Put a 1 under it. Under that, we bring it down to make that exponent positive. So really, 1 over 4 to the power of 4. And doing 4 to the power of 4 on your calculator, your answer is 1 over 4 to the power of 4 is 256. That's the answer for number 4. All right, 2 more. These are the ones that you'll definitely see on the test where it has both a number and a variable. Here's number 5. Okay. So just like you saw in the last assignment, you had a positive exponent. Now what do you do when it's a negative exponent? Again, you just work with the bases and exponents. The negative you're going to take care of last anyways. So we know this is 36 gets to the power of negative 3 over 2. And then this is an x to the 4. Also gets the power of negative 3 over 2. And 36 This is telling me that it's a square root, or what number squared is 36? Well, I know that's going to be 6, right? 6 squared is 36. And I got the negative 3 over 2 still. And for the variables, we did those just like numbers 1 and 2 here. We just went over those right now. For the variables, what do? You just work with the exponents, right? 4 over 1 times negative 3 over 2. The same thing's going to happen here. It's going to be 6. 2 over 1 times negative 3 over 2. I'll just write this over again. Here, the 2's divide out. You're left with 6 to the power of negative 3. Here, they don't divide out, but they reduce. So you have 2 goes into 2 once, 2 goes into 4 twice. So you're left with x to the power of 2 times negative 3. And you're left with 6 negative 3 times x negative 6. 6 to the power of negative 3, which we know that goes under, so it's 1 over 6 cubed times, and the same thing's going to happen to this one, 1 over x6. Final answer, 1 over 6 times 6 times 6, that's 216 x6. Okay, last one, number 6. And here I added a negative on that 9. We got a negative exponent here, a power, and a negative one out there as well, right? We got this one and this one right here. Okay, well, you work with the number and the exponent one way, and you work with the variable and the exponent almost in a similar way. So let's split this up. 343 gets the power of negative 2/3, and so does the x negative 9 get the power of negative 2/3. And here, if it's a 3, guess what? You find the cubed root. You find the cubed root of 343. We do a little side work over here. The cubed root of 343, you do this on the calculator. The calculator will tell you that the answer is 7. Is it 7? 7. What does that mean? You have to understand what this means. You can't just get an answer and not interpret it right. Because you're not using this. You have to know that this answer means that what? Wow, that means that 7 cubed is 343. That's the fact you want to use. Because now this 343, instead of that, you're going to write 7 cubed. And see, now that's going to work well. And this x negative 9. And then again, you show me how this simplifies down when you're using bases and exponents, mainly rational exponents, right? Okay, we know what's going to happen here. 7, 3 over 1 times negative 2 over 3. These divide out. This one, x negative 9 over 1 times negative 2 over 3. Well, a negative and a negative is a positive. 9 divided by 3 reduces to a 3.